Pokemon Ultimate Adventures by Mikazuki. Now, the real test begins. Once again, Skyrender drew his katana, the Skyfall, and held it over his head. Here's something you may be familiar with. As he spoke, a golden glow began to surround his weapon. Ah! Ash gasped, his jaw dropping and his eyes opening wide in shock. No, it can't be! That's impossible! He gasped, stepping back and shaking his head. It just can't be possible! He screamed. That light, it was the power of one! You aren't the only chosen one here, Ash Ketchum, Skyrender spoke. As he did, both Goth and Twin Dreamer stood up. Their bodies started to glow with the golden light. The glows surrounding their bodies changed colors. On Twin Dreamer, there was a silver glow surrounding his body. On Goth was a black glow. I can't believe it! The power! The power! So this is the power of one. Thank you, Skyrender! Both Twin Dreamer and Goth howled as the glows flashed bright and their bodies became invisible in the colored light. Finally, the glow disappeared, and they stood there, fully healed and energized, but they weren't really they anymore. Twin Dreamer stood, dressed in a silver outfit, along with a flowing cape. Hanging from his neck like a pendant was a crystal ball. On his belt was a deck of tarot cards. He looked down at his hands, and then at his body, and smiled unpleasantly. He jumped into the air and flew much higher and faster than before. He started teleporting from here to there, and then fired a large psychic beam into the sky. He teleported back to his original location, and finally spoke up. All this energy! I've never felt this power before! He laughed and jumped into the air. My psychic power has been enhanced! You are now looking at the all-powerful Grand Dreamer! He smiled evilly and looked at Psyduck. He unleashed the mind-burning wave. Even with his legendary psychic strength, Psyduck wasn't strong enough. Psyduck screamed in agony before falling to the ground, defeated. Name: Grand Dreamer. Weapons: Psychic Energy, Tarot Cards. Attacks: Grand Dream, Mindbreaker, Psychic Hold, Grand Healer, Fate Shuffle. Class: Master Psychic, Psychic Element. Rank: A. Goth was also different. He now had a black cape, and over his black outfit wore bones on his arms and legs, and a ribcage around his torso like armor. He then looked at his supercharged scythe with a blade nearly twice the size of before. Hanging from his belt was a new weapon, the Blood Whip, which was a black whip but wet with blood. His eyes glowed red, and he no longer had teeth. Instead, he had fangs, and his nails were sharp talons, like those of a vampire. He looked up at Ash and Misty and gave them a chilling smile, making both of them tremble. Ah! Both Ash and Misty exclaimed. Goth had punched into the ground, smashing through the concrete easily. Superhuman strength, an immortal body, the powers of the vampire. I have gained it all. Tremble in fear, for I am Chaos Reaper! Name: Chaos Reaper. Weapons: Great Demon Scythe, Whip, Fangs and Claws. Attacks: Mortal Reaper, Blood Fang, Blood Slash, Blood Whip, Lurking Death. Class: Vampire Warrior, Dark Element. Rank: S. Ash and Misty stepped back nervously. These super fiends, the power radiating from them, it was terrifying. Both of them gasped as the fiends turned their gazes to the two of them, smiling wickedly. Return! Ash and Misty called the unconscious Pokemon back to their Pokeballs. Spinning on their heels, the two ran as fast as they could. Grand Dreamer turned to face Skyrender. By the way, how long will the transformations last? As long as it will take, until the fight's over, when either Ash or you are beaten. When it goes out, it'll only come back if I morph you. Skyrender crossed his arms. But don't think that because of this power you're invincible. I seriously doubt that, Chaos Reaper smirked. Let's go! Meanwhile, keep running! Ash and Misty ran as fast as they could through a dark alleyway. It's bad enough that there's the power out and the soul harvest. Now we gotta fight super psychics and vampires? What's up with that? I only wanted to become a Pokemon trainer for Pokemon battles. Ah! He and Misty suddenly froze when they found themselves face to face with Skyrender. Ah! Ash growled, throwing his fear aside. Ha! Don't even try it, said Skyrender, as Ash flew to the side. Before Ash could even hit him, he had swung the wooden sword. Why, you! Take this! Misty swung the sledgehammer down on him. Ah! She gasped in surprise, as the Super Fiend raised the wooden sword over his head and blocked, without even looking back. Despite the strength of the swing, Sky's arms didn't even budge. Ah! She screamed when Skyrender pushed his arm upward, causing her to fall back. I'm not here to fight you, I just want to talk. Skyrender spoke seriously, facing the two of them. I'm a sportsman, and I just thought I'd give you a fighting chance. Yeah, right! Your definition of a little help was completely decimating all my Pokemon! Why should we trust you? Ash growled. Because you will die if you don't. Skyrender crossed his arms. The two of us, we are both chosen ones. We both wield the power of one. But the difference between us is such that you have no idea how to even wield this power, he spoke. The power of one is an incredible force, and not only grants a chosen one with godlike strength, but you can also focus it through almost anything, be it a weapon, a Pokemon, or even people, like I did back there. But there's more. Sky took a deep breath. When bathed in the light of this power, normal people grow tremendously in strength, so much that their bodies can't handle it, and the only way for them to survive is to change into a form that can. To evolve, if you will. The chosen ones themselves, however, we do not transform. We remain as we are. Though it may seem like a raw deal, it's a good thing, because as those two transformed into stronger classes, and all their strengths have been multiplied, so have their weaknesses. What kind of weaknesses? Ash asked suspiciously. Whose side are you on? Asked Misty. First you attack us and make our opponents even worse, then you come here and start giving advice on how to beat them? I have my reasons, Skyrender answered simply. To face those two as you are, it is simply suicide. Your only hope is to draw out the power of one, Ash, but you don't even know how. His eyes moved to face him. That is the reason I had these two attack you. A life-threatening situation may force you to release your power. What? Ash screamed, in fury at what he'd said. Everything that had happened, his friends being wiped off the face of the earth, the two fiends attacking him with killing intent, all just for some twisted experiment? Ash lunged at him. Ha! He exclaimed, as Skyrender's leg shot up, kicking him in the chest and slamming him into the wall. Ash groaned. The kick was so strong. Ash gasped as he suddenly felt the cold blade of a sword pressed against his neck. Ash! Misty screamed. The two of us may be chosen ones, but compared to me, you're just a baby who can't even walk. You are no closer to defeating me than you are from stopping the sun from rising. Skyrender spoke in a cold tone. His glare was terrifying. Even when he lowered his sword, Ash couldn't move. Can't you see the difference between us? He spoke louder as a golden glow surrounded him. Ash's eyes opened wide, and Misty began to tremble as Skyrender stood there, his power fully activated. He could feel it, the pressure simply from standing around him. It was so intense, he couldn't even breathe. It was nothing like when Ash wielded it. There wasn't any comparison between their levels. Skyrender closed his eyes, and the power faded away. Sheathing his sword, he turned and began walking off. "Don't stand against me again, or else I will kill you," he spoke harshly. "If you can draw that power out, however, you may stand a chance against those two." And with that, he left. "He's gone," said Misty. Ash looked down at his arm. "The power of one. I really have no idea how to activate it. Last time it came up, it just happened without me even realizing it." He growled. He wasn't sure if he could rely on it to win. He also mentioned something else, about those two having weaknesses. I wonder, what could they be? In the background, they could hear crashing and hysterical laughter. "Well, whatever they are," said Misty, "you'd better find out fast!" She and Ash began to run in the direction most opposite of the laughter. Things keep getting worse. How can Ash and Misty hope to stand up to such fearsome opponents? Can they figure out how to defeat the two fiends? And what exactly is Skyrender's purpose? Find out next time on Pokemon Ultimate Adventures! To be continued.